Hi, Tom Brown here. We're back with another episode in our Running a Successful Martial Arts School video series. It is 7:45 in the morning on a Tuesday. I'm in my second week of summer programs. The summer program starts at 8:30, and I got to tell you, I had an interesting start to my day. I set my alarm for 7:15, woke up at 10 after, and when I was on my way out the door, I realized it was only 6:45. And despite the fact that that frustrated me a little, I decided the best use of my time was to come in here early, shoot you guys a quick video, and try to answer some of the questions that I've received. So let's get started. I received a comment on one of our videos from Tiger Claw on YouTube. And Tiger Claw says, "That's a good video. Thank you for posting this." Well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. Thanks for watching, and especially thank you for your questions. We have 4 questions that we're going to answer today. The first one is, what kind of loans are out there to get your business started? Now here's the thing. When I got started, I was 19. There was no way I was going to get approved for a loan. So how did I do it? Well, I had savings. I had been saving for a while. I actually had my own lawn care business, if you want to call it that, when I was younger, when I was in middle school. And on a Saturday, I'd mow 4 lawns. I'd make not too much money, but enough that I would spend some of it and I'd save most of it. I also, around the same time, got a job as a busboy, and I'd save a lot of that money. And then in high school, I had a job at another restaurant, and I'd save that money. So part of my answer here is try to save as much as you can. If you're looking to start a business, start putting money away. Try to avoid debt at all costs. The other thing that I had going in my favor is we had these satellite programs that we set up, or that were set up with the help of my instructor. So I was fortunate for that. And the reason that was really beneficial was now I already had students. So I already had a revenue stream coming in. I had savings. And so when it was time to secure my own location, I didn't even need to consider going to get a loan because I had the finances in place. That being said, to answer your question, I don't know what loans are available, but I did reach out to a buddy of mine who's a financial advisor. He's really good at his job. He knows what he's talking about. And I sent him the question, and he confirmed what I suspected. Based on the nature of this business, you're not going to get approved for a loan unless you've been in business for 2 years. You can show that you have a consistent revenue stream. However, if you want to get a loan, you could get one, but you have to have something to put up as collateral. And so again, I would recommend avoiding getting in debt at all costs. But if you are going to go the route of getting a loan, you want to make sure you have the fundamentals in place. You want to make sure you know how to drive traffic into your studio, how to convert that traffic into paying students, and how to keep those students happy and paying month after month. Okay, you want to make sure that you have good retention, that you know how to do all of those things that we discussed in the first episode. If you can do that, getting a loan may be the route that you want to take. If you can do all of those things, I would predict that you're going to be successful, because that's really what's at the core of running a successful martial arts studio. Getting people in your doors, getting them enrolled, and keeping them enrolled. So make sure you have those things in place before you even consider getting a loan. Okay, let's move on to question 2, because we do have a few questions here, 4 questions. So question 2 is it better to get your students on a monthly contract or have them pay monthly and reward them for referrals for other students? Now actually, this isn't an or question, because contract or not, you're going to want to have a referral program in place. But the contract thing I talked about in the first episode, and I would advise not using contracts, at least in the terms of a financial agreement where now you have students that are being forced to pay months after they've decided they no longer want or need your services. If you do the things I talk about in the first episode and briefly mentioned in the first part, the first question of this episode, you should have good retention. You shouldn't need that. And a lot of people use that as a safety net because they're afraid they're not going to have the revenue coming in. So I advise against contracts, at least in that form. As far as the referral program goes, you can check out episode 3. I discussed that a little bit more. Absolutely have a referral program in place. Your students are your best asset in growing your school. They want to see you succeed. They want to see you stay in business because they're getting value out of what you're offering, and they want to continue to get that value. So referral programs are great. It's a very powerful marketing strategy to help you grow your school. Definitely have one in place. Question 3 and 4 are actually interesting questions. And my answers are going to be related. Question 3, what kind of martial arts insurance is out there for schools, and does it depend on the state? And this is why these questions are related. Personally, I don't know the answer. But what I would recommend, first thing, asking about insurance is an excellent question because it brings up a good point. One of the first things you need to do if you're going into business, make sure you have insurance. Make sure that you have liability insurance in place. So what I would recommend is go see an insurance agent. Get an insurance agent if you don't have one already. I went to see an insurance agent that I already had for my car insurance, and I sat down, I described the business that I was going to be starting. He did the research, came back, told me what he would recommend for insurance. And so that's what I would recommend anybody that's going into business do. Get an insurance agent and let them, because that's their job. That's what they do. Let them advise you as to the best course of action you should take. And so question 4, also very similar recommendation I have. Are you responsible for what you teach to your students? For question 4, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in some states, if you teach something at your school to a student and the student goes out and uses what you teach, you could get sued and be held responsible. So my gut instinct is that you wouldn't be responsible, but I don't want to give you information just based off of my gut instinct. This is not my area of expertise. So what I did is I reached out to one of my lawyers, and it's going to cost me to get this answer, but I think it was worth it. I was actually interested to see what he said. And so I sent him the question, and his answer is your students are liable for their own conduct. It would be one thing if you were encouraging your students to attack people, but if you are teaching your martial arts in a self-defense methodology, you are free and clear. Now, I did, like I said, I sent him the question verbatim, but if you're going into business and you're watching this, don't take my word for it. I'm not a legal professional. Yes, that advice did come from my lawyer, but I would advise you to get your own lawyer and seek his or her advice as to the best course of action. And another thing to add that connects question 3 and 4 is make sure you have a liability waiver in place. In fact, most insurance companies are going to require you to do so. And make sure that you have a lawyer look over that waiver to make sure it is actually a legally binding waiver, that it covers all bases and that you are protected. So my final advice, based on question 3 and 4, is, again, make sure you have the professionals in place. Get an accountant, get a lawyer, get an insurance agent. Get the professionals in place to give you the guidance that you need so that you know you're taking the appropriate steps that you need to take in order to conduct business in the appropriate manner and in a manner that protects you from any legal action. Okay? So find the professionals, get their advice. It's definitely a necessary part of doing business. All right, I hope you enjoyed. Keep the questions coming. Post a comment below. Send your emails to tom@tigonkarate.com. I look forward to hearing from you. We'll see you soon. Take care.